This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to talk about an obtuse ferret who hates Bitcoin. Meet Gary the Ferret. I think he looks a lot like a ferret, which I actually mean as a compliment because I do like ferrets. But anyway, Gary runs Gary's Economics, which is an economics channel on YouTube. You should definitely subscribe to his YouTube channel, especially if you relish redistributionary economics, like various forms of socialism and neo-Marxism and class resentment in general. He's really good at that. Let's hear what he has to say about Bitcoin.
This is what I always say to these crypto boys, right? Crypto can hit zero.
Well, there's a big mistake to begin with to conflate Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital global commodity, whereas crypto is usually just securities parading as some fake form of money. So it's a bad start that he doesn't understand the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, but let's continue.
I think it will hit zero.
Why do you think that?
It don't exist, mate. Imagine
Bitcoin doesn't exist in the same way that all digital things don't exist, in the same way this video doesn't exist, in the same way X and YouTube don't exist.
you're Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Probably I don't need to tell you who that is.
Yeah.
Right? Guy founds crypto. You make up something.
Well, he actually discovered or invented Bitcoin. He didn't exactly found crypto, whatever that means, but let's continue.
For free, costless to make. People are paying you for it. Fuck.
Bitcoin has never been costless to make. Even Satoshi needed to mine it using electricity. So this is another mistake. I'm not sure Gary's aware of what proof of work is. Again, Satoshi obviously only paid a few pennies, probably for the electricity for mining Bitcoin on his laptop. But the whole point of Bitcoin is you actually have to pay for it. It's not free, or you have to mine it, and that requires equipment and electricity. But let's continue. I'm going to rewind just a tad here so we can hear what he has to say.
Costless to make. People are paying you for it. Fuck, Oh my God. The amount you've got on paper, suddenly it's worth like £500,000. Talk about the early days. Fuck, £500,000. 5 million quid maybe. But as soon as you start selling it, you might get 200 grand, 300 grand. You can't sell 5 million quid. What are you going to do? If it were me, I'd sell 50 grand. Advertising. Future of money, mate.
Pretty misleading here because Satoshi has never moved his coins. He's never sold them. Satoshi never took out ads, unlike cryptos we're going to see. So again, he's conflating these two things, and he's accusing Satoshi of doing things which he never did. Satoshi never sold his coins. He never moved his coins. He never took profits and bought a Lambo with them. So let's continue.
Look how much it's gone up. I'd use a bit of money to stabilize the price. I might even artificially try and push it up a bit, get a bit of a bubble on it. It's gone up.
Again, how do you manipulate Bitcoin's price if you just have Bitcoin? How do you buy advertising without selling your Bitcoin? It's not something that you do. And I don't remember in 2010 or 2011 seeing ads in the New York Times or Washington Post for Bitcoin taken out by Satoshi. So this is actually completely imaginary, what he's talking about.
Gone up. Sell a bit more advertising. Get more kids in. Sell a bit more advertising. Get more kids in. Sell a bit more advertising. My whole plan would be, how much of this can I get in the hands of idiots, and how much of their money can I take?
This is, of course, the great irony because all the early Bitcoiners are quite far from idiots. And I'd have to say that the Bitcoin community is probably one of the smartest communities I've ever been privileged to be a part of. So he is describing crypto here, as we're going to see. But this certainly doesn't describe Bitcoin OGs, many of whom were computer scientists and cryptographers and mathematicians, and very, very interesting and very dedicated and good people.
And I would just run it up, and I'd stabilize the price, and I would advertise it, and I would tell people it's the future of money, and I would tell people this is going to save the world. And if I made enough, I might think, fuck, maybe I could fund a presidential campaign. I'm going to get him in.
Again, you can't fund a presidential campaign if you've never sold or moved your coins. So again, just an imaginary exercise on Gary's part here.
Make the government buy it. It's a fucking scam, mate. It's the biggest fucking scam I've seen in my fucking life. And if I was Satoshi...
Is it a bigger scam than fiat money, where bankers print up their own money and use it to fund corrupt governments? He doesn't seem to have a problem with corrupt governments, just with Satoshi Nakamoto doing something that Satoshi Nakamoto never did.
Nakamoto, just like all the other coins, my aim would be get as much of this money, of this fake money.
That was an interesting slip where he accidentally called Bitcoin money, but
in the hands of the world's young, hopeful men. Get them to pay me their real money. Use that to buy the stock market. Use that to buy gold. Use that to buy land. Use that to buy houses.
Again, you can't buy gold and stocks and houses and land if you've never sold your coins, and Satoshi has never sold his coins.
You'd be thinking, all you would be thinking is, how can I advertise this? How can I get it out? If you want to do due diligence on an investment, the first thing you want to check is, does it exist? This is points on the internet, mate.
So Bitcoin doesn't exist, it's just points on the internet. Very interesting. What Gary's talking about, especially when he was talking about advertising and crypto, what he's talking about there actually is true. It's just not true for Bitcoin. It's true for the grifting, quote unquote, crypto industry, where a small number of insiders print up their own money for free. For example, the corporation Ripple printed up 100 billion XRP tokens for free, and then they've been dumping those tokens on retail investors. And they've actually been using Gary's playbook here, using the proceeds to buy marketing that drums up interest so that insiders can dump even more. But this is not a proof of work currency. This is something that was launched by a corporation and really is a security when you think about it. This is more news about Ripple. Ripple taking out ads. Here's a billboard that they took out, just like Gary was talking about. Here's when Ashton Kutcher gave Ellen DeGeneres $4 million worth of XRP as a publicity stunt. Again, this is all being sponsored by Ripple, the company, the same company that's been running over the past few years Greenpeace ads and anti-Bitcoin campaigns, and they're very heavily engaged in helping to build central bank digital currency, CBDC. So this is an especially evil company when it comes to crypto. If you're enjoying this video so far, I just ask you to help to support this channel's educational mission. Hit the subscribe button, that does really help. Leave a like, leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future video, and share this video with a friend or family member. So let's see what else Gary has to say about Bitcoin. This was back in February of 2022 when Bitcoin was only at $40,000 per coin. I imagine he's going to warn us what a dangerous investment this was.
Just because money is a bad investment, that doesn't mean you should start buying made up internet money. It's a trap. Don't fall for it. Anyway, I've been looking for an investment that's safer than Bitcoin, and I think I might have finally found one. Keep watching.
So he's going to do walk into a betting shop and play the state monopoly or something like that. There's a lot of hubris in guys like this always who don't even understand Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is going to zero. These people always sound the same, quote unquote. I've been wrong about Bitcoin for years, and now it's a $1.7 trillion asset being bought by corporations and nation states, but I'm still going to say it's going to zero because it doesn't exist. These guys make no sense whatsoever. And when you look at Gary's background and what kind of economics he practices, you begin to have an idea of where he's coming from. This is a very popular video that he did that had 1.1 million views. And fortunately for you, I watched it, so you don't have to. This is called How to Get Rich. And his suggestions for how to get rich: number one, have rich parents. Number two, get a trading job at a big bank, but only people with rich parents can get these jobs. What a terrible and depressing and untrue message for young people, in particular for young men who must be his audience. This is the typical scarcity mindset rather than an abundance mindset. And I think the opposite is actually true. We live at an amazing point of time where there's an incredible amount of opportunity. You don't need to become a trader at Citigroup to get rich or have an impact on the world. There's so much available to everyone these days. All of the world's knowledge is available for free for virtually everyone on planet Earth. Certainly people who live in the UK have access to the internet, I still imagine. Then there's AI that will program an app for you, that will build anything, that will draw anything for you. Anyone can start a YouTube channel or TikTok, get their message out to billions of people, as Gary has done. It looks like there's some opportunity for in the YouTube channel space that Gary's not really talking about. So we're living in a golden age of opportunity. What is Gary's advice? Gary's advice in that video is pure glass resentment. Tax the rich, soak the rich. There's a little problem with that, is that the numbers do not work. Total billionaire wealth in the UK, 182 billion, and falling rapidly as these billionaires rightly leave. Total UK public debt, 2.7 trillion. So even if you did 100% wealth tax, 100% confiscation of all UK billionaires' money and property, you'd only end up paying off 6.74% of the debt. And in the meantime, you'd see a huge exodus of wealthy people from the UK, already been happening for years. So could it be that rich people are better with money than politicians who spend trillions of dollars of other people's money and still manage to run up trillions in debt? How do you do that? You have to be especially corrupt and incompetent. I think Gary's neo-Marxist thinking is very dangerous. It actually leads to a lower standard of living for everyone. So while he's playing the populist card and pretending to be concerned about UK's working and middle classes, this is not the solution. Marxism is not the solution. When Steve Jobs created the iPhone, he made all of humanity richer. He raised the global standard of living, so he probably deserved to become a billionaire himself rather than having his wealth confiscated, which he earned honestly. Steve Jobs, for example, didn't steal from anyone. Rather, lots of people like me and you gave Apple some money because we wanted an iPhone. It's the problem with Gary's economics. It's basically Marxism light. It's been tried so many times and failed. The solution is not redistribution of wealth, but rather creating a fair playing field, free markets, a meritocracy where the most productive people are rewarded the most. I think Gary's economics of resentment is a dead end. It's nihilism. By contrast, Bitcoin offers hope and promise of better times for all. So it's very ironic that he's attacking Bitcoin, which offers the young people of the UK one of the very few ways they can accumulate wealth and save without having the currency melting under their feet, having the British pound being the melting ice cube that it is, where it's constantly losing purchasing power. Bitcoin offers hope and the promise of better times for all once we're able to overthrow the real enemy, which is not the billionaires, it's the money cartel, it's the central bankers, it's the spendthrift politicians, and it's the redistributionists like Gary who want to steal from people and think they know better about who should own what. This is the money cartel and the corrupt politicians who need to be stopped. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy my takedown of this British Muppet, daft Muppet, bashes Bitcoin, and he seems to have redistributionary economics and politics as well. And again, I don't mean to pick on the UK. You have to remember that I devoted over a decade of my life to studying its wonderful history and literature. So that's not the problem. The problem is where the UK is today, and I find it especially depressing how the UK has lost its way over the years. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Fortunately, there's still many amazing Bitcoiners in the UK, in Ireland, and all over those beautiful isles. King Arthur has actually recently returned to these isles to liberate them under the new name of Satoshi. King Arthur is Satoshi, or Satoshi is King Arthur, in my opinion. Bitcoin is hope for the UK if only the people can open their eyes and see it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.